Let me do that mic check real quick, y'all. Can y'all hear me? Oh, see you, everyone. Can y'all hear me? We good to go? Let me know if we loud and clear. Let me know if we loud and clear, if you can for me real quick. Mic check. Are we loud and clear? Oh, see y'all. Loud and clear? All right, cool. Cool. Yes, sir. Levante, what's going on, brother? All right, we got some things to continue today. We got to continue on with this message. Oh, why am I hearing feedback? Give me a second. Let me fix all this up real quick. Yeah, we should be good. I don't know why I'm hearing a tad bit of feedback right now. I got to figure that out. It's not a lot, but it is annoying. I got to figure that out. But, oh, see you, everyone. I hope I sound good on that side. That's what I need to check real quick. Hold on, let me make sure that I'm sounding good on that side real quick. Let me mute my mic. Testing my microphone right now for me. Testing the microphone right now for me. Yeah, that's good. All right. Okay. All right, so we good. Yeah, we loud and clear. Now, because I did some different things. I forgot, I had a few other things set up on the stream deck trying to make it happen. I'm probably going to utilize it tonight so we can still have fun while we're getting educated on some things. I wanted to do it that way. I got some exciting news to state. Since I came in clutch last night, you know what I'm saying? My wife hooking it up tonight, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to my wife. I'm just saying. Hey, she throwing down tonight with the dinner about to be lovely. That's all I got to say. I'm just saying. But yeah, she coming in clutch as usual, and I appreciate that. Let me do my, cause where we at? Yeah, let me do it right now. Let's do them shout outs.
OCO, freethinkers. You're now tuned into the realest historian on the planet. He's here to make you think. It's Dane Calloway.
You are watching a master at work.
The champ is here!
King Kong ain't got shit on me!
The fuck you mean?
This motherfucker don't miss.
No, he's fucking good.
That motherfucker don't miss, man.
He's good.
In the heat of battle, he don't miss.
No.
In the heat of controversy, he don't miss.
No. Period.
Winners are not allowed to allow losers to rewrite history.
Cause one thing about it, two things for sure, three things for certain, nigga.
I'm the realest nigga in it. You already know.
All right, let's do these shout outs right now. Matter of fact, give me that echo right now. Kansas City, Missouri in the building. Orlando, Florida in the building. Duval in the building. What up, Florida? P-Way, Jersey in the building. Augusta, Georgia in the building. Welcome back. 202 in the building. What's going on? DC. Hey. Brooklyn in the building. DMV in the building. That's DC, Maryland, and Virginia. Dayton, Ohio. St. Louis. H-Time. Fort Worth, Texas in the building. Las Vegas in the building. Pooler, GA in the building. Fayetteville in the building. Cleveland in the building. Hey. Philadelphia in the building. Charlotte, North Carolina in the building. Richmond, VA in the building. Come on. Boston in the building. Philly in the building. Chicago in the building. What up, Chi-Town? Philly, what up? San Diego in the building. Tallahassee in the building. Hey. ATL in the building. Memphis 10 in the building. What up, Memphis? Cleveland, Ohio in the building. Cleveland, Ohio in the building. I see you. Hey. South Carolina in the building. Oklahoma City in the building. Dallas, Texas checking in. Indiana checking in. Detroit, Michigan in the building. D-Town, what up? Brooklyn in the house. What up, Brooklyn? Where Brooklyn at? I wonder how that sound with this echo. East St. Louis in the building. Durham, North Carolina in the building. Dayton, Ohio in the building. Louisiana in the building. B-more in the building. Hey. Illinois, let's go. I see you. Johnson City, Tennessee in the building. Rochester, New York in the building. Hey. Duval in the building. They said DJ Scream. Can I just be my old DJ? Texas, what up? Greensboro, North Carolina, what's up? Newark, New Jersey in the building. Big up, big up, big up, big up. I see the West Indies in the building. Hey.
Set it on fire.
Buffalo, New York in the building. Hawaii in the house. Shit out to Hawaii. That's fam right there. Gary, Indiana in the building. What up? Jackson, Mississippi in the building. What up? Suffolk, VA in the building. What up, Virginia? Monroe, Louisiana in the building. ATL in the building. Michigan in the building. Brooklyn in the building. Raleigh, North Carolina in the building. Inglewood, Cali in the building. Kansas City, Missouri in the building. I see you.
Set it on fire.
East side of Detroit in the building. Huh? I think that was Tennessee. Went a little quick. Shout out to Tennessee. Fayetteville, North Carolina in the building. Pure, Michigan. I see you. Chi-Town, hold it down. Let's go. Let me switch it now. I'm gonna do the main one. But no, hold on. Let me do the just chat. Real quick, hold up, just chat real quick. The reason why I'm doing this is because there was a lot of other people I ain't get to shout out, and y'all showing love, and thank y'all for being here, and I'm gonna shout y'all out because y'all here with me live right now. You understand what I'm saying? Let me throw that thing back on. Buffalo, New York in the building. Hey, what's going on? Spring Lake, North Carolina in the building. I appreciate y'all for being with me. It's go time.
It's go time, Slim.
Let me bring that a little closer. Columbus, Ohio in the building. What's up? North Carolina in the building.
You are watching a master at work. A master at work.
My bad, I ain't even mean to hit that. Catawba County, North Carolina in the building. What up, kinfolk? Orlando, Florida in the building. Greenwood, South Carolina in the building. Chicago definitely in the building. I'm seeing a lot of Chicago. Alabama in the building. Birmingham, Alabama to be exact. Durham, North Carolina in the building. Macon, Georgia in the building. I see you. A couple Macon, Georgias. What up? Hampton, VA in the building. Newark, New Jersey in the building. Tampa, Florida. What's going on? ATL, what's going on? Carson, California in the building. Man, what's Saginaw at? Saginaw, hey, J.O., what's Saginaw at right now? Huntsville, Alabama. UK in the building. Foley, Alabama. What's going on? Liberty, North Carolina. H-Town in the building. Hold on, that went quick. Hold on, let me see real quick. Leave my Cowboys alone. I ain't say nothing. Oh, that's Saginaw, Michigan? I bet. Saginaw, Michigan, what's going on? Roanoke, VA in the building. Grenada, West Indies in the building. Grenada!
Set it on fire.
All right. I see you, Roanoke. I see you, Roanoke. Bakersfield, correction. I see you, Richmond. Fort Worth, Texas. Detroit. Union, South Carolina. Hey. Y'all going off, man. I'm gonna leave them alone, man. And matter of fact, let me tell y'all right now, right? That here's my take on that. Like, based off of what I've seen, to me, I don't think that's the coach. I don't think that's the coach's fault. I really do think that's the ownership problem. I think Dallas Cowboys football team got an ownership problem. Like, Jerry need to let it go, man. It's over. He need to let it go. He need to let it go. I don't see nothing wrong with the coach they got right now. In fact, they had a few good coaches, but Jerry need to let it go, man. That whole family need to just do exactly what the Washington Redskins ex-owner did. Dan Snyder, sell a team. Force him to sell a team. He too old for that now, man. Leave it alone. Like, for example, I was surprised. Like, when I peeped in and watched that Detroit Lions game, right? And they showed the owner, which is one of the Fords of the Ford Motor Company. This old lady had to be like 98, sitting in a box with glasses on, looking like she about to pass at any minute. I'm just saying, like, it gotta come a time where y'all gotta see. I'm just saying, man. I just wish we had more control over that. I wish our people were involved in some ownership. You know, more than just minority. I know Magic Johnson in there, but I'm just saying, like, that's kind of, I don't like the way that look, man. Yeah, they paying to her. I forgot her name. They paying to her looking like she about to pass out. I was like, what? And that's the owner, Mrs. Ford. I was like, damn. I couldn't believe that. I was like, wow. I mean, it is what it is. And Jerry up there too. Jerry is up there. But, I mean, it's time, man. It's time. I want to revamp everything. It would be nice if we could take our talents into our own league. It would be nice. And then them old folk wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? Them old white folk wouldn't have to do nothing but beg us to come back. Please, please come back. They'll be offering you more than a couple million. As much money as they making off of the cable companies alone. Man, what? YouTube TV put up that bag too. Crazy. And now folks only getting a couple. Like, it's crazy. And they hitting them hard as hell in taxes. I'm like, man, look. There's so many different things I would do with that. I know that's for a different time. I'm going to keep it moving. But I peek in here and there, you know. I'm a diehard Redskin fan, though, man. And the Redskins ain't been around for a minute, but I still watch the team. I'm from D.C. I'm just happy that, the ownership switched, but I wish he would have kept it at Redskins before he left. I mean, he switched the name and the mascot, man. That pissed me off that happened, man. I couldn't believe that. Like, that's representing the Niji, man. But it is what it is. So let's move into it right now. I don't want to take too much of your time. Let's move right into it right now. This is going to be considered a part 2 to what we did yesterday because I want to pick up right where we left off. Let's see. Right where we left off, we were talking about the precedents. And I was showing you guys, I'm missing one thing. I got my coffee, but I don't got enough water. I might have to make a move, ask one of my children to bring me up water. But so the precedents that was occurring at that time, like we were referring to James Meredith, just to refresh your memory, the precedent that occurred in 1966, where it elevated the reach of the civil rights movement, where they had to do things, they had to come up with precedents, or they had to come up with events or false flags to make it seem as if something occurred to put eyes on it. This was all visual imagery that they were focused on, especially bringing up the civil rights movement. That's how they got everybody's attention, throwing it in magazines and newspapers, coming up with stories. A lot of it wasn't true. Now, I showcased that at the very end of the last live stream. So I'm going to go into something on that note. Let me switch screens right now. I'm going to go into something that's very up to date. Some of you all may be familiar with this. If not, I'm going to show you right now. Give me a second. So this is something that happened recently. Let me move this over on my side. All right, now, I'm going to bring, hold on. I need this one. Yeah, right here. All right, let me bring this over. All right, so I'm going to explain what happened. On December 7th, last year.
What are you doing?
Hold on, this lady right here. Now, we going to call her a lady because she's of age. She's 26 years old. I don't know if y'all got a chance to see this, but right now, just to explain what's going on, she's in front of the birth home of Martin Luther King Jr., setting it on fire.
Set it on fire.
Wait, no, I'm just playing. She ain't set it on fire, but she was damn near about to. Now, of course, I can't say allegedly because they conveniently put this on camera. Now, this is his birthplace, and the home has been turned into a museum. So, the federal government owns this now. This is federal government property. This ain't got nothing to do with the King family. This is all federal government property. Well, anytime it's turned into a museum, ain't no ownership with no family on that. I'm going to just let y'all know that right now. No, she burning down the house of the Kings. Stop her. It's going to affect the King family. No, it's not. This is strictly the federal government that owns this property, just like how they own him too. But, okay, let's keep it moving. So conveniently, I'm going to run the story down. Conveniently, how convenient was this? Where it was alleged they're going to call them tourists. 2 tourists from Salt Lake City One was a filmmaker named Zach Kemp, and his co-worker was just so happened to, run past this area and wanted to, film it or whatever it was. That was their first time visiting the home, the birthplace of Martin Luther King. Also, another convenience was that on that same block, 2 off-duty New York Police Department officers were in the area. Now, keep in mind, this is in Atlanta, Georgia. 2 off-duty police officers, 2 alleged tourists from Utah. Watch this.
What are you doing? No, that's gasoline.
Was there some type of direction? Or you just felt like this is what you needed to do? Okay, Cherokee War Chief, what on the earth does that have to do with an MLK?
What?
To do with an MLK? War Chief, this is what you needed to do. Okay, Cherokee War Chief, what
Wait a minute, she said Cherokee War Chief.
on the earth does that have to do with an MLK?
What does that have to do with an MLK?
Same mentality, okay?
Wow. All right, hold on. But okay, now I'm sure y'all probably didn't hear that. But apparently that lady that was on site, I need y'all to pay attention to what is being done here. They see what we doing here. Catching on, huh? They see what we're doing here. If you don't think that they not paying attention to what we have been doing, listen, you got another thing coming here. Now, of course, the majority of y'all know this is a precedent. Okay? I'm talking about hands down. This is acting. There's no way conveniently 2 off-duty New York officers is here at this location, conveniently. At the same time, some filmmakers are, while simultaneously they catching her in action. And I want you to hear this story too. All of a sudden, she pouring some gasoline, but she hid the lighter. Went to go get the lighter, and they tried to stop her from lighting it after she done poured a 5-gallon tank all over the Listen, hold on. We gonna go further, but I want you to see this whole video and the next one. Of course, but hold on. Out of all of that, we never got her story. We never understood why this was taking place. Why did she feel comfortable with talking to this lady, whoever this lady is? And why was that clipped? Why was the Cherokee War Chief has anything to do with MLK clipped and everything else cut off? I'm going to play this one more time. Listen to it very closely. So they caught her, allegedly caught her.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Wait a minute.
No, that's gasoline.
Is it? Hold up. Wait a minute. One more. Let me. Nah, that may be gas. That may be gas. And I'm going to come up with another question right after this. I'm going to come up with a different question.
Was there some type of direction?
Was it some type of direction? I'm repeating what the lady said, just in case you can't hear it.
Or you just felt like this is what you needed to do?
Or you just felt like this is what you need to do.
Okay, Cherokee War Chief, what on the earth does that have to do with an MLK?
Okay, Cherokee War Chief, what on earth does that have to do with an MLK? And then it got cut.
Okay.
It got cut. Now, I'm telling you, I'm going to repeat this one more time. They are watching what we are doing. I'm talking about, this is the reason why, for right now, you don't see me everywhere. The reason why I say for right now is because we're going to keep not only our foot on their neck, but we're going to be doing some things to push this out further. Okay? I'm going to keep the plans to myself, but you'll see. Anyway, but again, the things that we're doing right now are letting people know that we are indigenous to this landmass. the last live stream, I informed you that Martin Luther King was on the verge of telling people that they are indigenous to this landmass, and that he was definitely letting you know within that Poor People's Campaign that our lands were taken from us and handed to foreigners. He did not one time talk like that until right up before his demise, before he was assassinated. Now, all of a sudden, we don't know. We just heard that lady repeat it. We don't know that this woman stated this. She's 26. Her name is Lanisha Chantrice Henderson. She's from Tallahassee, Florida. Listen. Hold on. Matter of fact, let me do that right now so we can see who this woman is. She's from Tallahassee, Florida. This is her. Look. She was enlisted in the Navy. Decorated. The men out there saying she fine. I'm going to tell you right now, she don't look better than my wife, and that's my statement, and I'm sticking to it. She was decorated in the Navy. Hold up now. Hold up. Taking a veteran picture, decorated, 26, in the Navy. Listen, y'all, Tallahassee, Florida. I'm letting it sink in. A Navy veteran. She already served her 4 years. She earned multiple, according to reports, she earned medals for good conduct alongside other accolades. Now, they said Henderson's father told WSB-TV that his daughter was suffering from a mental health episode. All of a sudden, I'm getting the date. 2 days after the incident, the father came out and said that she was suffering from a mental health episode. Now, the reason why this is a little iffy to me is because I could have sworn the military evaluates. How could I word this? Now, unless she started having mental episodes after her term of service, because if she's active, they evaluate each person. If not, from what I recall, it's either done every 6 months or a year. If I'm not mistaken, y'all could get in the chat and tell me. Yeah, psychic evaluations. Psych evaluations. I said psychic. Like, they're always evaluated now. And if there's and if there's an issue, a year. Okay, I'm glad y'all said it. Okay, so it's a year. And if they discover that there's an issue, she's gonna get released. So she could go, they probably provide help. Maybe not. Maybe not. I know a lot of veterans that claim that they're not even getting help from the VA. Yeah, she's going to be, medical discharged. But I know a lot of veterans that barely get help from the VA. They claim that they're giving treatment, but I know them personally. Now, let's just say that that's the case, because that means that happened after her term. They also said that he added that they had been trying to find her for 2 days before she was detained for attempting to burn down the historical home. Henderson's last Facebook post on December 7th, listen, on that same day that she got all of this done, showed a series of slides, including a judgment tarot card with an image of Donald Trump perched on top of the world. Wait a minute. I ain't gonna lie, this sound a little iffy. It sound a little iffy. It sound more than a little iffy. Let's continue on with the video. I'm letting it sink in because we were on the topic of precedents that started up. Okay, back then, so they could push up that civil rights movement crap. Conveniently, a little over a month ago, this situation occurs. Conveniently, oh, and it just so happened to be MLK house. Oh, all of a sudden she going what? That lady is doing the talking, not her. Whoever that lady was apparently claiming that she was blaming it on some, I don't know, we need to know. See, now we're going to be using our imagination, but that's why I don't like that part. But they noticed they put in Cherokee and then War Chief. Like, let's just say, for example, she was watching my channel. Apparently something led her to do this, or that's what they're trying to make it seem. I didn't instruct anybody to touch his house. That's number one. I didn't instruct anybody to do anything of this nature. That's number two. Number three, I haven't met this lady personally at all. I haven't spoke to her a day in my life. Number four, I would love to know why this was done. And with them just brushing it off on a mental issue without stating a motive, it's kind of weird. Conveniently, two ex-police officers, off-duty police officers of the New York Police Department are there in Atlanta on their street, Auburn Street is the name of that street, if I'm not mistaken. The folks out of Atlanta, y'all could correct me, but I believe that's Auburn Street. And two filmmakers. So they were able to capture it on camera, immediately arrest her. That sounds just like the James Meredith precedent, don't it? Similar, I'm talking about how people were conveniently there to record all of what was going on. Oh, and he's some type of hero because he stopped her? You talking about a veteran. You stopped a veteran from sparking up a lighter. I don't know about that. I was right, Auburn Ave. All right, let me keep it moving.
And that's why he's putting you in a position in which you can
Wait.
still breathe. Position in
Hold up.
And that's why he's putting you in a position. And that's why he's putting you.
Y'all saw that? That eye blinking. Yeah, everything working together. That blink. Look at that blink.
Okay? And that's why he's putting
Blink.
you in a,
one eye, not both. One.
and that's why he's putting you
One. See that? That's a signal. Ooh, that wink. I be pointing it out. Hold up. Hold up. This damn near don't even look like the same woman.
Earth doesn't have to do with an MLK same mentality.
Look at that wink. Watch that wink. What you looking at over here? What you looking at over here? And then
And that's why he's putting you in a position.
now, hold on. Before I show y'all, I want y'all to notice how this is like daytime / going into the, now, I'm sorry. afternoon. Notice the sun's still out. See the sun? No, that's a light. That's a light. But you can still see it's still here, like it's still light out. They allegedly waiting for the police. Allegedly. I'm talking about, if you talking about some arson stuff going on, I don't understand how the police and the fire department is not there in 1 minute. On a federal government property. Okay, let me keep it moving.
Mentality, okay? And that's why he's putting you in a position.
Yeah, that wink.
Still breathe,
They're on their way.
but you're.
Nobody's trying.
Wait a minute, where are the police? They're on their way. So why is the filmmaker not identifying that this person is an off-duty officer? Why hasn't he established that he's an off-duty officer at this time? But the police are on their way. But he's conveniently recording all of this stuff because he's a film. Okay.
Nobody's trying to hurt you. We just want to make sure the house, nothing happens to it. And
Yeah, are you comfortable, young lady?
Looking at this crib.
Okay, as long as you can breathe and you're comfortable, we're good.
no, it's the police are on their way. It's fine. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I hear you cooling.
It's fine. The police are on their way.
Okay, so if it's in a low emergency, like there's no emergency vehicles.
Well, it seems like they didn't know the address.
Wait, it seemed like they didn't know the address? Listen to how they snitching. Hold on. Let me come back a little bit more, y'all. Because before we get to that part, this truck, the alleged random truck, pulls up. He didn't explain to him what happened. He just saying everything's okay. The police are coming, right? Apparently, they must have been waiting for a while because now I can see people's shadows on the ground.
The earth doesn't have to do what.
Don't forget, everything got clipped. It's been chopped up.
Mentality, okay? And that's why he's putting you in a position in which you can still breathe.
Why not record her being apprehended?
Nobody's trying to hurt you. We just want to make sure the house, nothing happens to it. And
Yeah, are you comfortable, young lady?
Looking at this crib.
Okay, as long as you can breathe and you're comfortable, we're good.
no, it's the police are on their way. It's fine. Yeah.
No explanation.
Oh, okay, I hear you cooling.
It's fine. The police are on their way.
Okay, so if it's in a low emergency,
Interesting.
there's no emergency vehicles.
Well, it seems like they didn't know the address.
What?
Here they come.
Okay, I hear something.
How you gonna act like, hold on, first of all, why would you say that? We talking about an Atlanta Police Department, Atlanta Fire Department, that know where MLK live at. I mean, it's a historic museum. Everybody within that area know where that house is. There's no way in the world they're not gonna know the address. There's no way. What are you trying to say? Everybody's a rookie? There's no way. That does not sound right to me. I'm gonna keep it moving.
We're gonna tell y'all to come down to the precinct.
Here they come.
Opposite direction.
You doing okay?
That's the second time she was asked if she was doing okay, and she just responded with, mm-hmm. That was it. That's the second time.
Here they come.
Opposite direction.
You doing okay?
Where her shoes at?
Me and him were looking at the house, just checking it out. We're not from here. And she came up behind us, had a gas can. And at first she just seemed like she was kind of doing her thing. Like I thought maybe she was watering the plants or something.
To be using a gas can.
Yeah.
Hold on, wait a minute. They gotta ask what's going on. So wait a minute. The police officers weren't dispatched to the house of possible arson taking place. They pull up on a scene and ask questions of the bystanders. They're not too sure why they were called. I don't know. I don't know about that. Usually the police officers are the first to tell you why they were called. I mean, we were down here because we got a call stating blah, 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 blah. Not just pull up and, hey, what's going on? It's a, okay, this is the one that's the possible arson. Then tell me what you asking them. Okay, let me keep it pushing.
We're not from here. And she came up behind us, had a gas can. And at first she just seemed like she was kind of doing her thing. Like I thought maybe she was watering the plants or something.
To be using the gas can
to
water the plants.
And then she had trouble getting it open, so eventually she unscrewed the top and threw it to the ground and walked up on the porch and under the rope and started dumping the gas all over the porch. So instantly it's like, okay, this is not good. And I said, what are you doing? What are you doing? And you could smell the gas. So she came back down. She dropped the can in the bushes and then came back down to grab her lighter.
So let's go ahead and cover.
Watch this, y'all. Notice how this person that's holding her is still holding her. Not one time did you see him establish that he's a police officer, but yet he's assisting them, putting on the cuffs. Hold on. We don't ever see that. There's no way that you would, I mean, of course, they're going to be like, okay, I got it. I will take things from here. When did you establish that you are an off-duty officer, number one, with the city of Atlanta police, and that you're an off-duty officer for New York? When did you have time to show him your badge? That we didn't hear you state, hey, I'm an officer. They pull up, you holding them, and now you're assisting them with throwing on the cuffs? Huge red flag right here, huge. This ain't real, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about, look at that.
Dropped the can in the bushes and then came back down to grab her lighter.
So let's go ahead and cover. Hey, ma'am, you all right?
Third time that they asked if she all right.
What's going on today? You want to stand up for us?
And he's assisting all of that. And this person right here.
What's going on?
We finally get to see this guy. He got a little smile on his face, but in front of the camera, not pulling her to the, hey, come with me to the car. What's going, you just stood her up. Hey, what's going on? Like y'all having an interview in front of the camera. We got to get this on camera.
You know your name? Step back over here. Well, we can go.
The leaves off of her? Oh my gosh, I'm just a mom.
Now all of a sudden you pushing people away? Notice how they pushed that lady away. Well, at least he did. And he directed her to go back, right? All of a sudden, because she got a leaf on her chest.
You know your name? Step back over here. Well, we can go.
The leaves off of her? Oh my gosh, I'm just a mom. I'm sorry.
Gotta cause a scene.
This is her phone?
This is her keys. This is her car right here.
Yes.
This is her keys.
You got the keys also? And this is the lighter that was on her?
And this is the lighter that was on her. That could have been in his pocket. Well, they could be pinning it on one person. And how she conveniently dressed like she about to rob a place. That's tight pants, like gym pants, tight black shirt, black Scully. And you gonna tell me that's a person with a mental issue? Okay.
This is her phone?
This is her keys. This is her car right here.
Yes. And that's her car. You got the keys also?
Wait, where did the phone drop from? So y'all took all her belongings and now trying to hand it to the police after they walking off. Where did that fall from? Hold on. It looked like she dropped it. Wait, no, he had it. Oh, look. This guy right here. This guy right here had it in his hand. Uh-oh. Oh, they set this up. What he doing holding her phone like that? Look, this whole time, he held the phone. He should have been handed that to them. But then all of a sudden, it dropped. He looking. He looking back like he ain't just hear that. Now he looking down. I'm so sorry.
This is her keys. This is her car right here.
Yes.
This is her phone. This is her keys. This, now everybody coming up with all this.
And this is the lighter that was on her?
This is the lighter that's on her. He handing it back. Oh no, he gave it to the police. All right. Now here's another video. Oh man. Here's another video of the body cam of when they pulled up. You think they can't play Hollywood in real life? You got another thing coming here. Look at how long it took them to get there. Now, I mean, it could be a little dark on the camera, but it definitely was not this dark when we see that other video, bruh. I mean, maybe the camera dark, but god damn, this seemed like way later. But maybe the camera dark. Let me try to give them the benefit of the doubt. All right, so he hopped out.
Behind us had a gas can, and at first she just seemed like she was kind of doing her thing, like I thought we were just watering.
I just happened to be using a gas can to water the plants.
And then she had trouble getting it open, so eventually she unscrewed the top and threw it to the ground and walked up on the porch and under the rope and started dumping the gas all over the porch. So instantly it's like, okay, this is not good. And I said, what are you doing? What are you doing? And you can smell the gas. So she came back down. She dropped the can in the bushes and then came back down to grab her lighter.
So let's go ahead and talk.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Can't believe they allowing that guy to stand there.
Hey man, you all right? Yeah, she's good. I would want to be checked out by Grady or something. What's going on today? You want to stand up for us?
I could have sworn officers, in order for you, okay, when you show their badge, it's not just showing your badge. They gotta look at that, right? Like, you off duty. If you got your badge on you and a police officer that's on duty, we talking about out-of-state police officers, how do you have time to at that time? And we didn't see anything exchanged. No, when not one of these officers hold up the badge, take a look at his identification to verify that he's an off-duty officer of New York. There's no way that any one of us right now can assist an officer with arresting an individual. There's no way. They're going, all right, thank you, we got it from here, step to the side. There's no way. Thanks for and I'm talking about literally assisting them with putting the cuffs on her. That's not real.
What's going on?
And in front of all of those people, you're gonna ask her what's going on. You should have moved her to your car. Why is it anybody else's business? Why is it everybody else's business?
No, honey, I'm supposed to leave stuff over. Gosh, I'm just a mom. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
This is her phone?
This is her phone.
His phone.
And that's her car. You got the key?
You give it to him.
And this
Wait.
is the lighter that was on her? Okay.
Oh, no. Maybe that phone was his because he grabbed that phone back. So why would they say this is her phone? Why are they saying that? Wait, maybe another phone exchanged. And we didn't see that part. Let me hear it one more time.
I'm so sorry. This is her phone?
This is her phone.
His
Yes.
phone.
And that's
This is her phone, yes.
her car. You got the key?
You give it to him.
And this is the lighter that was on
And
her?
this is the lighter. He come out the blue with the lighter. Maybe they're not referring to that phone. Okay. Either way, the whole point of me showing all of this is the fact that they claiming that this young lady had an episode. The lady had an episode. To me, that don't even look like her. Oh man, that don't. To me, that just don't. Let me look a little harder. Is that her? That may be her. Nah, that's her. That's her. That's her. That's her. That camera must be dark. That camera got to be dark because that camera's making her look a little darker than she is. That's her. That's her. The nose. Oh no, let me one more time. The nose, yeah. That cheekbone. Hold on. One more time. I'm doing it for me, so I'm checking. Nah, it's gonna be hard for me to state that that's not her. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's hard for me to state that that's not her. Damn. Ooh, this picture, maybe because she's squinting? Now, maybe because she's squinting. I'm trying to get a benefit of the doubt here. Hold on, did they get a little closer than that? Wait. Nah, they didn't. Well, at least not on this video, right? When she got up, yeah, she moved. Okay. Hold on. Let me, okay, the last time. Let me just double check real quick, because that's kind of, let me get that face real quick. Wait, where's she at? That's kind of far. I need the up close. When she stood up, okay, they stood her up. Hold up. Ooh, oh no. Oh no. Ooh, that's hard. I don't know. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. That's kind of, I don't know where her shoes at. I don't know, man. Is that, I don't know. That could be. That could be. Woo, this is the, I ain't gonna lie. This kind of, oh no. I'm like, I'm about to say no and I'm about to say yeah at the same time, because it's like, okay, there go that nose, the eyebrows. Okay, hold on. But them eyebrows are a little too different. Like that's what's kind of throwing me off. Them eyebrows, I mean, unless she got, matter of fact, she could have had makeup on right here. Eyeliner, or whatever it's called. Listen, I'm not, whatever it's called. Yeah, ladies, y'all know, she could have did something to them eyebrows. Right? Because right here, them eyebrows different, right? And it looked like it's black around her eye. Like she had makeup on or something. Ladies, yeah, okay, that's her. That's her. She's slimmer. That's definitely her. All right, okay, because I'm just saying, because I'm just saying. So they apparently are saying that she suffered from a mental problem. I don't know. She had a mental episode. Her father, that's according to her father, that his daughter was suffering from a mental health episode. He added that they had been trying to find her for 2 days before she was detained for attempting to burn down a historical home. Again, I would love to know why. Why? What's the point of that? Are they trying to entice people to do that? Because I'm telling you right now, that's, to me, that looks set up. She from Tallahassee, Florida. She conveniently know to go to King's house in Atlanta, his birthplace, That's a museum. And what did they do with that gasoline that she was pouring? She was pouring a lot of gasoline. How did they, that windows, floor? What they do with this?
What are you doing? What are you doing?
And then?
No, that's gasoline.
And the bushes. Was there like a fire department or something? Like what? Okay, anyway, let's again, the James Meredith precedent that happened in 1966. The one I was referring to right at the tail end of this, where he was basically, an incident occurred where he allegedly got shot. The cameramen were conveniently there to record him while he was on his one-man march journey of 220 miles from Memphis, Tennessee to Jackson, Mississippi. But this was the second day of his alleged march, trying to entice people to go out there and vote. Right? Now, we end it right there because I'm about to go into the second part. Oh, and before I even get into that second part, right? I remember during the live stream, I was talking about the first class citizenship. And I was also talking about, this was at that time when he started, I gave y'all that speech that he gave for the Poor People's Campaign. I was telling y'all he was tired. Let's see.
Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead.
And he was also knowing, he just like how Malcolm X did, both of them knew that they were getting ready to get killed. Both of them knew it.
But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
And we already at the promised land.
So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
See, I mean, of course the crowd got hyped because, he's a preacher and that, that tone, that Georgia slang, of course. But if they was listening to him, he was basically saying his time is up. His time is up. But yeah, the promised land is here in America. Why you think so many foreigners want to come here? Still to this very day. Yeah, he was a traitor, but you got to understand, he was led astray at a young age. He was doing what he was supposed to be doing, what he was told to do. After a while, when he knew that he was doing wrong, right before his demise is when he changed. A lot of that stuff changed and he started letting it fly. And then when they threatened him and basically informed him that that's it, this was his last speech. Letting them know, informing them, letting them know it's about to happen. And them people cheering on, like that's another thing. He basically said, I'm getting ready to die. And everybody was like, yeah. I was like, damn, that's kind of, he said he not going with you to the promised land. He would like to live, a long life, longevity. Like how y'all just going? But at the same time, it is what it is. And they was like, yes, teach, tell them. Hey, that's why I don't like that. I don't like that. Because even when he was so-called giving his I Have a Dream speech, the people was doing the same thing. Y'all wasn't listening to what he was saying. He said they wrote a check, a bounce check, a check that came back marked insufficient funds. He was saying it then. It's like he knew certain things, but when he got so invested into the government allegedly trying to do something for us, he was straight up like, hold up, wait a minute. They really not going to do nothing for us. Then he flipped the script. And this is what I'm about to get into with this video right here. When he flipped the script, the government sent in agents to not only stop him, but it was to stop the movement, to twist and turn the movement into a different direction where the government still had control over the people. Because yes, that's what he was there for. He was there to be a puppet, to control the people, to steer the people in whatever direction the government want them to be. Wherever they wanted them to be. Again, our people, when I said this yesterday, our people will uphold the civil rights movement as if it was beneficial for us. And still to this very day, nobody can pinpoint exactly how the civil rights movement benefited our people. Because they don't even know what civil rights is. They don't. They just assumed that we was able to get on a bus. Instead of getting on the back of the bus, we was able to get on the front. But wait a minute, you're not looking into that whole story about Rosa Parks, because Rosa Parks could have took a whole bunch of buses that our Niji people owned and got to where she needed to go. Why did she have to go on a white bus or a Caucasian bus owned by Caucasian? Why did she have to desegregate their buses? Why couldn't she get her lazy ass on the buses that our people owned at that time to get to point A to point B? Why? See, and our people went, well, but that's because, and they turn their nose up when I say stuff like that because it's the truth, and they have no idea that that was the truth because they never bothered to look into it. They never bothered to look into it. And that's a problem because you're seeing everybody else falling for the same thing over and over and over again. Every time we come up for an election or with some type of a vote, whatever we got to do, allegedly got to do, our vote don't count. I hope it's going to count the next time because I'm not going to vote for that nigga. But yeah, you turn right around. I'm voting for him. I'm voting for him because I'm tired of this. It's the same old, same old. What I'm tired of is the same old, same old. I'm trying to prevent that cycle from happening. So some of you may disagree with what I have to say and the research that I'm going to be presenting here. This may ruffle some feathers. So what? The majority of the feathers is going to ruffle are the people that are 50 years old and up. Not all of the people that are 50 years old and up, but some of you. Because they have gotten so comfortable with a lot of lies that they were taught when they were younger, that they feel as though it's either that way or else. Right now, you are constantly hearing the so-called ones that are, again, 50 and up, that look like you and I, that got YouTube channels. The number one thing they're going to tell you that our people need to do is go out and vote. And I told you to name a time when we ever went out and voted and it benefited us as a people. Everybody thought, look, everybody thought Obama was actually about to do something for us, right? Once Obama was in there, what happened? Nigga, 8 years. 8. Name a thing, I'll wait. And you know what our people would do? Sometimes what they would do, well, he made the gas prices low. Like that ain't help everybody. You think that just helped us? Well, taxes went down a little bit. Like that didn't help everybody. Was that strictly for us? Like real talk. Like stop coming up with this bullshit, bruh. Ain't nobody in the government helping you. We got to go vote this. We got to go. No, we don't. No, we don't. How about we bet on ourselves? How about that? The last time we betted on ourselves, we were living segregated. So don't it seem like we need to go back to segregation? Wouldn't we be better off? Again, Rosa Parks attempted to desegregate a Caucasian-owned bus when our people had multiple bus systems already in play. Martin Luther King told, he's not the only one, but Martin Luther King instructed young college students to go desegregate schools, desegregate restaurants. This is a problem. A problem. We had our own schools. We had our own restaurants. We didn't need these niggas. That's just like when people be mad because a certain actor or actress didn't get an Oscar. Oh, that is the highest award that you could get. Why can't you come up with your own Oscar and reward your own actors? Why can't you even come up with your own Hollywood and create your own films? Why you always got to be attached to them? Right? Why? Like you inadvertently holding these foreigners up high. Like they better than us. That's why I said white supremacy is an illusion, because you giving them the power. Another reason why I'm telling you that white supremacy is an illusion, is because it only exists in your mindset. Keep in mind, this paper money is imaginary as far as its value. The books they writing, as far as your history, is imaginary. The curriculums is imaginary. These taxes you got to pay is imaginary. The lines separating the states is imaginary. Oh, wait a minute. The lines that's separating the United States from other places is imaginary. It's a fucking illusion. It's an illusion. Oh, the government is governing everybody. We have to be governed by this particular. That's imaginary. A quasi-corporation is something that acts as if they are something, meaning acting as if they are a government. Quasi, that's what that means. They are a quasi-corporation, acting as if they are governing you. That's an illusion. But you act like you calling me a radical and all the rest of the stuff because I'm not talking like the rest of these people. But Dane, I like the way, this such and such person talk, but Dane, for some odd reason, I don't see him on this podcast because, you know what? I don't know. I don't know which one to choose. Dane ain't on that podcast. You know why? It's because they ain't trying to have that real conversation. Because I talk like this on and off camera. I talk like this online in your face. And then don't get it twisted and think that I'm going to go somewhere and not be able to repeat these dates and repeat these events. After how I've been working my ass off to get all this research, you are out of your mind. This is the reason why your so-called favorites that you holding up high, because they had an interview here and an interview there, ain't trying to debate this nigga right here. This is the reason why I'm a problem to them. Then because of this right here. Oh, he said that Harriet Tubman and Nat Turner is not real. Some folks said I said that Frederick Douglass ain't real. Get it right. I said Harriet Tubman and Nat Turner are both fictional characters created by acts of Congress. I put that out 3 times and put out a book. Not one of these people debunked it yet. And I showed you my research. Nigga, show me your research proving that these niggas was real. But Dane, but you taking our heroes away. Heroes? Ain't you holding up Martin Luther King the same way? And what did he do? But Harriet Tubman freed some slaves. Name them. Nat Turner had some people with him. Name them. And they started killing Rebecca and all the rest of them families. Name the rest of the families. Harriet Tubman related to, I dare you to prove it. Thomas Reffin Gray, the creator of Nat Turner, told you that it is an alias name. The story was created in the Richmond Whig newspaper. He took that rant with it because he was a gambling type fella, right? He ain't had no money, so he made up a story so he could make money. I showed you that. Sarah Bradford was from Geneva. How's she gonna know Harriet Tubman? And by an act of Congress, they approved that story? But she didn't know how to read and write. Then who was writing these affidavits for the money from her so-called husbands to go to her? When it wasn't going to her, it was reassigned and went to Sarah Bradford and her lawyer. I got the records, goddammit. I dare you to pull up. I dare you. And I'm going to repeat these same truths on every platform I get on because I know it's pissing you off because you can't prove me wrong. And it shouldn't be about proving me wrong. It should be about proving yourself right. If you one of those type of people that feel as though our family members came from Africa, you should be able to prove it to yourself to verify your family members, to verify your family members of the 1800s. If you can't regurgitate the names, locations, and dates of your family members, direct bloodline family members of the 1800s, then you can't debunk Dane Calloway. Don't run scared. You gonna get this work. Don't run scared. I bet you going to run and go tell that to your folks that you look up to. And see the difference between them and I. I don't have a stage name. I'm running with my real name. Even Martin Luther King wasn't his real name. I didn't have to hide nothing. I don't have to hide anything. For what? All of what I'm doing is trying to attempt to tell my people what happened with our people right here in this territory. You don't have to believe me. That's not what this is about. It's about proving it to yourself so you could know. This whole thing is not about believing. It's about knowing. You can't pull up a session on anywhere that I have right now on YouTube where you hear me say, hey, believe me, y'all. Believe me, this is the truth. I won't be saying that. Everything that I ever mentioned and put out is publicly verifiable. And I'm warming you up to this part right here because everything that I mentioned in this segment is publicly verifiable, regardless of how you get in your feelings, because I know you gonna get in your feelings when I show you this video. I seen the original comments. A lot of y'all couldn't swallow that pill of truth. So get ready. Because I did all the research in here. Shout out to my wife, so did she. And I dare you to say otherwise. All you gotta do is verify it. But see, everybody's so used to Googling this, Googling that. Hey, you think I'm doing this based off of what Google say? You out your mind. Oh, based off of what Wikipedia say? You got another thing coming. Let's start from right here.
And could possibly face losing their only means to make an income that allows them to provide for their families and maintain their farms. So let us begin things where we left off in part 1, where it was from this June 6, 1966, James Meredith precedent that provoked a young, aspiring civil rights activist by the name of Stokely Carmichael to finally have his opportunity to shine in the political spotlight on a national level. Stokely Standiford Churchill Carmichael was born June 29, 1941, in Port of Spain, Trinidad. Then he immigrated to the US in 1952 at the age of 11, where he briefly resided in Harlem, New York with both of his parents until they moved to Van Ness in East Bronx, New York, which was predominantly an Italian and Jewish immigrant neighborhood at that time.
New York, am I lying? I'm showing you the pictures too. New York, am I lying? What neighborhood was that? He didn't grow up with you, did he? 11 years old, immigrated 1952. He lived with them foreigners, didn't he? Was y'all over there? It's a lot of New York people in the chat right now. Look at the chat.
What is very important to note here is that Stokely Carmichael was a member of the Morris Park Dukes gang in East Bronx, New York, in which he was the only person of color accepted into this organized crime-related street gang.
Interesting. He was the only person of color in the Morris Park Dukes gang of East Bronx, New York. I wonder why. I mean, they could clearly see that he a color. I wonder why.
Keep in mind that this was at a time period where you may believe that racism ran rapid throughout America, and so-called whites would be furiously opposed to working with so-called blacks in collaboration efforts.
Look at that.
However, truthful history continues to prove otherwise.
So that's another thing that I'm pointing out to you, because again, the civil rights movement was trying to promote racism as if racism existed. Now, not to say that prejudice didn't exist, but they promoted racism, okay? To do away with classism. This is the reason why you don't know what class you fall under as a citizen, first, second, or third, because they promoted racism as if they're one and the same, and they are not. Classism is totally different from racism. But at this time, not everybody saw or suffered from, or I'm talking about witnessed any form of racial divide. They were together. And that's what I was trying to show you. At that time, 50s, 60s, and 70s. Well, 70s actually it escalated. That black and white stuff escalated in the 70s. So let me just say 50s, 60s. At that time, everything was cool. Even when we were segregated, everything was cool. Everything was cool. Things ain't start getting twisted up until you wanted to desegregate segregated areas. But you wanted to hop on their things as if, okay, wait, we want to be a part of what you got going on. Well, the whole time they wanted to be a part of what we got going on. This entire time, that's their history. This is the reason why they're here. But I'm talking about, this is crazy how people think that racism existed. How they interpret it as during the civil rights movement. Not everybody went through that. Not everybody.
Many people that shared various shades of the color
and then
brown
I showed
skin
you that. So, and during this part right here, as I'm talking to you, you see white folks accepting their food
Many
and
believe
drink
that
from
racism
so-called
ran
colored
rapid
folk
throughout America.
Look at that. Accepting his drink from so-called colored folk. At that time, so-called colored, so-called white, working together too. Racism where?
And so-called whites
it wasn't
would
everywhere.
Be
white, they right.
They
all in the front.
Working with so-called
White
blacks
folks
in
over here,
collaboration
white
efforts.
folks eating. It wasn't okay, this side is white, this side is black. Not everywhere. Y'all need to pay attention.
However, truthful history continues to prove otherwise.
He X'd out color and white on the sign and it said Americans. Don't you know how sometimes some of y'all people get mad when certain people say that they don't see no color? Some of those people are legitimately stating that because they don't. Not all of them. Some of them do it with, some form of prejudice intent, but trying to fit in. And I know that's going to be difficult for you to pinpoint the difference, but there are people out there that don't see no color. They say, hey, we all one human. We're all human, right? But again, that's also another attempt to say that they are the same as us when they came from a totally different landmass. In order for them to fit in as American, okay? So see how that, again, it works both ways, but again, this was twisted around so it could only work in the favor of the 1%. You split the people, you divide the people. Y'all take this side, y'all take that side. No, division, not segregation, division in the physical form of your spirituality. How you feel in the inside is how it's being displayed on the outside. You have to be taught racism. So everybody was getting those images and stories at this time to continuously divide the people because of racism. They weren't feeling like that at first. Again, racism has to be taught to a so-called white and a so-called black person. That has to be taught. A person is not born a racist. That does not exist. A baby, a child, they're not going to see that as a difference. They're not going to see that there's a difference in culture. And all the way down the spectrum. They're not going to see that. That has to be taught at an age where they can understand. Then you got to feed them imagery because they're not going to feel comfortable at first. This is the reason why they did the children this way. Because the children were the most vulnerable and they were able to be molded in every way they wanted it to be, however way they wanted it to be. So it wasn't focused on the adults. That's why I was focused on the children. The whole agenda was focused on the children. Keep in mind, y'all the adults right now. Those same children that they attack.
People that shared various shades of the color brown and skin complexion did not share the same life experiences as some others may have in most southern and northern states of America. And like millions of others, Stokely was one of those children. And we can all agree that racism is not something that you are born with.
Right, just say that.
Racism has to be taught to an individual. So, without a doubt, now you know that it works both ways.
Both ways.
In fact, it wasn't until Stokely's very first year of attending Howard University as a student in 1961 that he became aware of segregation and racial discrimination, sparking his interest in studying the already active civil rights movement with a few of his fellow classmates, undergoing discovery of all tricks of the trade. Stokely eventually joined the Nonviolence Action Group, which was the Howard campus affiliate of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, or SNCC for short, where he studied under the guise of various other students of particular colleges and universities, like Diane Nash, for example, who also didn't experience racism during her childhood until she later became a college student.
I had never traveled to the South at that time, and I didn't have an emotional relationship to segregation. It's, you know, I understood the facts and the stories, but there was not the emotional relationship.
In other words, she don't know about that. She had to get taught. She don't know nothing about it.
When I actually went south and actually saw signs that said white and colored, and I actually could not drink out of that water fountain or go to that ladies' room, I had a real emotional reaction to that.
And don't forget that just because you saw signs that color only, white only, does not mean that we couldn't have our own. Does not mean that we could not have our own. We had our own restaurants, our own bathrooms, our own everything. It was just living segregated. Some owners said, look, we only gonna serve our own people. And sure enough, that's prejudicey, not racism. You proud of your own people, you only gonna serve your own people. Guaranteed our people did the exact same thing.
Diane Nash is one of the co-founders of SNCC, and she was also involved in the field operations of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was its president and also one of the prominent leading influencers of the civil rights movement already underway. Then 21-year-old Stokely.
Now, I gotta mention this. Martin Luther King had a lot of women. I ain't gonna go too far. But what I mean by that is I have video evidence of Diane stating that she was a mistress. And we could already tell by the way Martin Luther King came out. Who came out with Martin Luther King? Pay attention.
Operations of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. Whereas Dr. Martin Luther King
he came out with her, not his boys, with her. I'm not trying to, our ladies look good back then, but this was a married man and he was young in the mind on top of that. So don't forget, he tried to have it his way. He wanted to have his cake and eat it too. So a lot of those stories are true. As far as him having a lot of women around him, multiple different women. You could tell that she was, never mind, let me leave it alone.
Was its president and also one of the prominent leading influencers of the civil rights movement already underway. Then 21-year-old Stokely Carmichael grew to have a different approach to tackling various politically driven issues of concern, in which many of these ways were looked down upon by his fellow colleagues who disagreed with disengaging from being moral supporters of nonviolence and loyalists to Dr. King. The Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee was founded by a few young college students.
Now, you know, they were working together because look at the symbol, so-called black or so-called white, in this committee.
Like then 22-year-old Diane Nash of Howard University, and then 25-year-old Charles Frederick McDew of South Carolina State University, joining with then 57-year-old Ella Josephine Baker of Shaw University, just to name a few, in April of the year 1960. Together, they all nominated then 24-year-old Marion Berry of Fisk University to become the committee's very first chairman. And then the very next year, Berry was replaced by Charles McDew himself in 1961. And McDew held the chairman position until stepping down 2 years later. And then 23-year-old John Robert Lewis was elected chairman of SNCC in 1963. Now, by this time period, members of SNCC found themselves becoming victims of their own demise when it came to firm mutual agreements on various causes of some high-profile concerns within their own student committees. One of these concerns was that many of the students found themselves at odds with the old nonviolent approach that was heavily publicly promoted by various so-called black leaders, with Dr. King leading the charge. On the part of SNCC's involvement within these disagreements, they were mainly discussed, debated, and manifested by Stokely Carmichael himself, who was a field organizer of SNCC during this time period in 1963. In 1964, John Lewis was then forcefully removed as the chairman of SNCC due to Stokely Carmichael and his direct peers' disagreement with practicing nonviolence rather than self-defense, and the fact that John Lewis was too close of a friend to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So
now y'all see that there was a problem, okay? There was a problem, but then again, there was an agenda. They tried to make it seem like it was a problem. There was an agenda to stop what Martin Luther King was doing.
Majority of SNCC members decided that Lewis should turn his back against Dr. King and his agenda.
Mark Stokely Carmichael had you removed as the chairman of that committee. Why? Called SNCC.
It was called SNCC. It was called SNCC, short, I guess, for the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee of the press. Doug was SNCC. And there was a feeling on the part of Stokely, Carmichael, and some other, that I was too close to Martin Luther King Jr., that I was too committed to the philosophy and discipline of nonviolence. They didn't think I was militant enough or radical enough. They wanted me to take on Martin Luther King Jr., take on Lyndon Johnson as president. I disagreed with President Johnson on many things, but I was not going to get in a name-calling process or thing with Lyndon Johnson, with Dr. King. Dr. King was my friend. I was on his board, the board of SCLC. He was my leader. He was my hero. And I accepted the role as a participant. I didn't see myself as some great leader. I saw myself as one of the participants in the civil rights movement.
After successfully removing John Lewis as chairman, Stokely Carmichael was then elected as the new chairman of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee in 1964 at the age of 23. And as you can tell by John Lewis's own account here, there was a lot of tension between the college students of SNCC and SCLC and many other parties involved that I'll get into more detail here soon enough. Once Stokely became the chairman of SNCC in 1964, he quickly realized that he needed to stick with Dr. King and his political motives, agendas, and participation in various precedents that Dr. King involved himself in, all just to gain the attention of Dr. King's viewers, listeners, supporters, and media presence. And here's what I mean by that. Just as well as the other college students who participated in the civil rights organizations they created, Stokely Carmichael was one of those college students who participated with influencing numerous people of color to go and register to vote. And he was also determined to be the very first person to popularize the phrase Black Power on national media by sticking to Dr. King's side in particular whenever the media is present. And he casually speaks in response to Dr. King on most occasions, standing against Dr. King's beliefs, pledges, opinions, and his overall agenda. Upon close examination of Dr. King's facial expression, we can determine that Stokely was upsetting him, but Dr. King still managed to not lose focus.
What do you mean when you shout Black Power to these people back here?
I mean that they are oppressed because they are black, and their rallying cry must be Black Power, so that they can use that to ensure justice for themselves.
I feel that while believing firmly that power is necessary, that it would be difficult for me to use the phrase Black Power because of the connotative meaning that it has for many people and the feeling that this may represent a desire to rise from a position of disadvantage to one of advantage, thereby subverting justice.
Hold up. To rise from a disadvantage to an advantage. He already felt as though that term black, even though he was saying it himself, was no good, especially in a position of power. But that rise from a disadvantage to an advantage part, listen.
It would be difficult for me to use the phrase black power because of the connotative meaning that it has for many people and the feeling that this may represent a desire to rise from a position of disadvantage to one of advantage, thereby subverting justice.
By subverting justice. I'm going to let that sink in. That's a very, very powerful statement. Not only were they standing against each other during that little interview, as far as what their firm beliefs are, but this just goes to show you that Martin Luther King knew that the person that was right beside him was there to monitor him, to report back all of his actions to somebody. All of his agenda, everything had to be reported back. Now, I'm not saying that he's the one that was responsible for pulling the trigger. I'm not saying that. But he's definitely responsible for twisting the narrative. Because again, still to this very day, we never witnessed any power by considering ourselves as black. We never witnessed any power by considering ourselves black. But again, Martin Luther King knew that wouldn't work. Notice how it wasn't to a point where they were going in the direction of being violent from nonviolent. That's an excuse. They were trying to say that he was radical and militant and all the rest of that, but so was King in a way. That's why certain people or certain states, as far as their governors, didn't want to work with him directly because they thought that. But the federal government knew that they put him in position, being Martin Luther King, to entice the people, to flip him in a direction that will keep certain people in office based on an illusion that our people will have some form of control or some say-so by going at it in a nonviolent way. The civil rights movement, as quick as it became reality, was as quick as it was taken out. I'm talking about fast, taken out. They needed a new way to do things. So they used people younger than him to get it done.
It's important to understand the transition with SNCC. When Stokely became the chairman of SNCC, he had a different approach. He'd not been trained in nonviolence, and he believed in self-defense. And he was somewhat influenced by, Malcolm X, who talked about that, and also Adam Clayton Powell. Adam Clayton Powell talked about black power even before Stokely and others.
Now, hold on, wait. And here's another thing, y'all. Malcolm X didn't go a violent route. Now, they were organized. They would kick your butt if somebody got out of line, but they were organized. Malcolm X, and at that time, the FOI were top-notch organized. They were, trained military style. They were trained in combat hand-to-hand. They did carry guns, but it wasn't violent. So you can't assume just because this is how you know it was something different going on, because you can't assume just because a person wasn't trained to be nonviolent that the person is violent automatically. Because wait a minute. Why do you have to be trained to be nonviolent? Remember I said that in the last live stream, that Martin Luther King was trained to be nonviolent. But is that all about not protesting with violence? Is that all about not promoting violence or promoting some type of riot to occur? What is that all about? In order for you to have to, you got to take classes or something to be nonviolent? What do you mean? If you're protecting yourself, you're going to do something about it. You're not just going to stand there. I mean, some of you may, but I'm not. But that don't make me violent. I'm just saying.
Adam Clayton Powell talked about black power even before Stokely and others.
And it was amazing to me how after long walks he would listen to them vent, listen to all of us vent, and it was wonderful to be a fly on the wall with great patience. And I remember him often saying, Stokely, is it that bad? Is it that bad? But he listened, and that was when black power first began to emerge. And I will never forget Dr. King's face when in Greenwood we had a rally, and Willie Ricks got up and started saying black power. He looked like the most stricken man, but that was the first real breach in the nonviolence commitment.
Mississippi of 1964. Stokely spoke at various student-filled meetings and began soliciting door-to-door within particular neighborhoods of counties heavily populated by low-income residents of Mississippi. So now the question then becomes, to go and vote for what? And to go and vote for who? A portion of that who was known as the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, which was a newly formed political party of Democrats that consisted of both so-called white and black representatives.
So-called white and black representatives. Notice the sign. I went over this 2 live streams ago. Notice the flag. 2 live streams ago, I was telling you about the real story dealing with the Confederate flag. And that was an easy yes. As soon as they saw that flag, people went on ahead with...
To go and vote for what?
Uh-oh.
And to go and vote for who?
Now, I also did that in part 1.
A portion of that who was known as the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, which was a newly formed political party of Democrats.
I also showed you in part 1, when I said Dixie crack, right behind that, I showed you the Confederate flag. It's a reason behind that. Remember the stories that they were telling us, which is true. I'm not denying that our people, 1860s, 1870s, 1880s, the majority of our people became Republicans. But then again, I told you prior to any of that, it was also called the Democratic Republican Party. They were one and the same. They were together. I want you to look up the original flag of the Democratic Republican Party. Keep in mind if it's associated with the Dixiecrats and if it's associated with the Democrats. I don't want you to believe me. I want you to look it up. And I want you to see for yourself the same flag. We already talked about this, and I got more information coming during so-called Black History Month, but just want you to see why people gravitated towards it, because listen to what I said. So-called black and so-called white. Because if it was an issue, because this was so-called the KKK flag, our people would not hop, skip, and jump to this now, wearing this pin on their shirt.
that consisted of both so-called white and black representatives. And despite being heavily favored publicly by way of visual images of this party being heavily campaigned by the media to the public, white Democrats of the original Dixiecrats party, along with Lyndon B. Johnson, became very aggravated and defensive and reacted in a way as if someone intruded upon their privacies of a segregated lifestyle.
Right. They didn't want that to happen. They wanted to be segregated. But some of our people were forcing themselves on them. Was that necessary?
Then 47-year-old Fannie Lou Hamer of Montgomery County, Mississippi, was chosen to speak at the Democratic National Convention held on August 22nd, 1964, as the vice chairperson of the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party. Ms. Hamer detailed some very vital information to the public that should have alarmed everyone then about the cons of the so-called Negroes' participation in a voting system that they were initially banned from.
Mr. Chairman, and to the Credentials Committee, my name is Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer. It was the 31st of August in 1962 that 18 of us traveled 26 miles to the county courthouse in Indianola to try to register to become first-class citizens. And Reverend Jeff...
Remember when I said in part 1 that that's how you became a citizen? It wasn't based on your social security number. It wasn't based on your birth certificate. It was based on you becoming a voter. And I also told you that this is separate from the Voters Act of 1865. This is separate. This is totally different because if they recreated their own constitution in 1871, that's after 1865. So all of that stuff, the Voter Act, all that stuff is null and void. 1871, don't forget that they implemented white supremacy in 1890. So now you got to understand that the voting system is totally different. So with them trying to become newly registered voters, they're becoming citizens of a brand spanking new foreign government. They were thinking that they were going to be considered first-class citizens. That was the enticement that was done. But still to this very day, you can't tell me which one of that, a part of classism now. Which one? First class, second class, or third class? But they were told that they were going to be first class by becoming voters. And we lost everything. Fannie Lou Hamer, bless her heart, she didn't know. She just thought that this was a very good thing to do for her and her family. They utilized Fannie Lou Hamer. They used her because she was a part of working out on the fields, working for her family. Okay? Now, keep in mind, because a lot of the people that were involved in the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party were not out in them fields. Okay? Or they were not working at all. Don't forget that they were college students, so they had money to go to college. I want you to let that sink in. They had money to go to college. They were not poor. They were not suffering. They did not see any wrong conditions of racism, whatever you want to call it. They didn't see any of that. They didn't suffer from anything. They were in college, but they had to borrow people like Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer. May she rest well, bless her heart. I like her because she came up on here and gave her testimony to the Democratic National Convention. Now, at this time, this video that you're seeing is the actual video. The reason why I couldn't play the entire video is because at that time, I couldn't find it. The entire video, word for word, like how I have the audio. You hear me here? I'm playing the entire audio. But I want to make note because I didn't get a chance to add this in this segment. Lyndon B. Johnson purposely went live. He did a live press conference from some stupidity that they came up with, some random ass little fake little holiday or something they was trying to celebrate. It was a lie. It was a lie. They was trying to cut her off because this was being aired on television. As far as her story, they didn't want nobody else to hear what she had to say. Okay? In other words, they didn't want the government, they didn't want the people to understand the government's moves, inserting our people into their voter registration system in order to take their lands, take their jobs, take their farms, and evict them. Again, we were not citizens until this point. We made a mistake. Now, again, Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer, bless her heart, she had no idea that this was that this was a problem. This was leading to a major problem that our people are suffering from right now. This is not a game. This is not a game. This is something that we have to correct. This is not about correction status and, we got to fill out this paperwork and still be attached to this goddamn government. I told you what we should be doing is creating our own. Not trying to be a part of theirs, create our own. Because what did they do? They saw what we had, copied it, and created their own. So she's given, just keep this in mind that Lyndon B. Johnson purposely came up with an excuse to cut this off. But this is the full audio. At the time, I didn't have the full video with the audio matched. But I want you to please listen closely to what she's saying. I'm going to come back right here. All right.
My name is Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer. It was the 31st of August in 1962.
2 years ago.
18 of us traveled 26 miles to the county courthouse in Indianola to try to register to become first-class citizens. And Reverend Jeff Funny carried me 4 miles in the rural area where I had worked as a timekeeper and sharecropper for 18 years.
Hold on. Where she had worked as a timekeeper and a sharecropper for 18 years. Listen.
I was met there by my children that told me the plantation owner was angry because I had gone down, tried to register.
Told me that the plantation owner was angry because I had gone down and tried to register. The children knew.
After they told me, my husband came.
Then her husband came. Whole family there now. Listen.
The plantation owner was raising Cain because I had tried to register.
Told her that the plantation owner was raising Cain because she tried to register.
And before he quit talking, the plantation owner came and said, Fannie Lou, do you know, did Pat tell you what I said? And I said, yes, sir. He said, well, I mean that if you don't go down and withdraw your registration, you will have to leave. That then if you go down and withdraw, that you still might have to go because we're not ready for that in Mississippi.
Now, remember when in part 1, in the last live stream where I was telling you, I showed you, I played that where Stokely Carmichael was saying that people was getting, in Lowndes County was getting evicted from their lands. Was getting evicted from their lands. And I told you, wait a minute, where did they go? But if the plantation owner told her that she might have to leave just because she went down to vote, and even if you still withdraw, you still might have to go because we are not ready for that in Mississippi. Plantation owner. Well, wait a minute, who's the landowner? How is it going to affect the plantation owner, landowner, if she went down and registered to vote? The only way it would is if she's family, right? Listen. The only way it's going to hurt the plantation owner, landowner is if she is family. Okay?
Now, this is why it is very essential to know your history of your own family members, because not every county of every state underwent racial discrimination, environmental racism, low-income poverty, nor racial segregation during this time period of the 1960s. Okay? In fact, many of these college students that were members of these various committees didn't experience any of these things as a child growing up and becoming young adults.
You about to see me explain it. I see somebody say explain. You about to see me explain it.
What you will find is that many of these college students were well-educated followers of various religious faiths, and their parents even disagreed with them attempting to desegregate schools where so-called whites attended, and other public places that so-called Negroes didn't own or were not even a part of. What's also important to note here is that their parents were not struggling to the point where they couldn't afford for their children to gain a higher education. These college students were very well versed in organizing meetings, gathering funds necessary, writing public speeches for members who were speakers, and more importantly, influence members to dare place themselves directly in the way of segregated areas across America, purposely.
That was done purposely. They were already living fine. These are college students, university students. These are young adults. Their families, their parents worked their tails off to put them in position to have a higher education or better education, regardless if it was so-called black or so-called white, as far as the control over that unit, college or university. The reason why we knew that was Fannie Lou Hamer's family is because that will be the only people that could be affected by her registering to vote. Because everybody that went to register to vote, not only did they become citizens, but they lost everything that they owned. Their land, their farm, you gonna see it. I'm about to get into it, but I'm jumping ahead. I didn't say this yesterday, day before that. Today, you're going to see it again. And then you're going to hear it from them. In this section, watch.
Well, I first heard of Martin Luther King Jr. in 1955 when I was 15 years old. I grew up only about 50 miles from Montgomery. I had seen the signs that said white, colored, white men, white women, colored women, white waiting, colored waiting. I heard Dr. King's voice on the old radio. His words inspired me. I grew up in segregated rural Alabama, and I didn't like the signs that I saw saying white and colored. White men, white women, colored women, white waiting, colored waiting. The action of Dr. King inspired me to find a way to get in the way. I had been told by my mother, my father, my grandparents.
Inspired him to get in the way.
Parents and great-grandparents, when I would ask questions, they would say, don't get in trouble. Don't get in the way. But I felt like Martin Luther King Jr. was speaking directly to me, saying, John Robert Lewis, you too can do something. So in 1957, at the age of 17, I wrote Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. a letter. I didn't tell my mother, my father, any of my sisters, or brothers, or teachers. I wanted to attend a little college 10 miles from my home called Troy State College. I applied to go there, submitted my application, my high school transcript. So I wrote this letter. Dr. King wrote me back and sent me a round-trip Greyhound bus ticket and invited me to come to Montgomery to meet with him.
A 17-year-old. Let it sink in.
So in September 1957, I boarded a bus I traveled from Troy, Alabama, rural Alabama, past Montgomery, to Nashville to go to school. An uncle of mine gave me a $100 bill, more money than I ever had, gave me a Foot Locker, put everything that I own, my few books, my few clothing in that Foot Locker, and took a Greyhound bus to Nashville. And while I was there studying, Rosa Parks came to speak at Fisk University, and I heard her. I met her. And Dr. King later heard through one of my teachers that I was in Nashville studying. So Martin Luther King Jr. got back in touch with me and told me when I was home for spring break to come and see him. So in March of 1958, by this time I'm 18 years old, I boarded a bus. I traveled from Troy to Montgomery. And a young lawyer by the name of Fred Gray, who was a lawyer for Rosa Parks, for Dr. King, and the people involved in the Montgomery bus boycott.
And the people involved in the Montgomery bus boycott. Same lawyer representing Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks. Be on the lookout. I'm coming out with more information. Watch.
Met me at the Greyhound bus station and drove me to the First Baptist Church in downtown Montgomery, pastored by the Reverend Ralph Abernathy, and ushered me into the pastor's study. I saw Martin Luther King Jr. and Ralph Abernathy standing behind a desk. I was so scared, I didn't know what to say or what to do. And Dr. King said, "Are you the boy from Troy? Are you John Lewis?" And I said, "Dr. King, I am John Robert Lewis." But he still called me the boy from Troy. And he said, "You know, if you want to go to Troy State College, we will support you. We may have to sue the state of Alabama. We may have to sue Troy State, but we're prepared to help you. Go back home and have a discussion with your mother, your father. You know, your home could be bombed." That's what he said.
Listen.
"Your home could be burned. Your family could lose their land. You could be beaten. You could be harmed." And I went back, had a discussion with my mother and my father. They were so afraid that something could happen to me, it could happen to them, or we could lose the land, lose the farm. So they didn't want to have anything to do with my...
Lose the land, lose the farm.
It's up.
You paying attention? Are you paying attention? We'll wind that back. Uh-oh. We had land. We had farms.
And I said, "Dr. King, I am John Robert Lewis." But he still called me the boy from Troy. And he said, "You know, if you want to go to Troy State College, we will support you. We may have to sue the state of Alabama. We may have to sue Troy State, but we're prepared to help you. Go back home and have a discussion with your mother, your father. You know, your home could be bombed." That's what he said. "Your home could be burned. Your family could lose their land. You could be beaten. You could be harmed." And I went back, had a discussion with my mother and my father. They were so afraid that something could happen to me, it could happen to them, or we could lose the land, lose the farm.
I'm just going... Yeah, man. You ain't got to believe me. It's not about believing. It's about knowing what happened.
Set it on fire. Fire.
It's about knowing what happened. Our people that went out to go register to vote to allegedly become first-class citizens lost everything. And this is on record. This is history. This is our story, not his story. This is our story. This is what happened. And that wasn't that long ago. They are attempting to control that narrative and making all of those visuals black and white. Notice I was showing you the majority of the visuals that I was showing you of this time period were in color, Technicolor, right? This is not a game, people. We made a mistake. And this is the biggest mistake we made right here. And the most recent one, too. And again, we're constantly going through cycle after cycle, thinking that we need to be voting this person in, voting that person in. No, we do not. No, we do not. It didn't work for us then. It's not going to work for us right now. This government is all about foreign affairs. They are invested in helping and assisting, basically, other foreigners. That's it. We know that to be true because look at their history of how they've been giving and giving and giving. Foreign place after foreign place, year after year after year, and then turned around because you made so much noise in order to quiet you down. They intelligently told you that they will study what happened to you as if they don't know and need further investigation. Still to this day, California, talk to me. California Reparations Task Force, you know, the one that disbanded last year in July. Tell me that Governor Newsom, after all this time, we in January 2024, remember it disbanded in July of last year. Tell me right now, California, was anything signed into law that's going to allow you to have reparations right now? Did Governor Newsom come out on record and make any changes? Anybody in California, speak up. That's your governor. Nothing. Look at the chat. Sometimes I yell because I get passionate. That's all. I don't have to yell all the time. I apologize if it pissed some people off, but get over it. You grown. You didn't hear it worse than that. I mean, wouldn't you listen to the preacher? Yes, Lord. Yes, Jesus. And I want you to touch your neighbor and tell your neighbor the Lord is. You heard all that yelling then. Don't you dare get on me about yelling now. You went to church on Sunday just to get yelled at. I don't want to hear that. That's an excuse. But yeah. So that person that was like, explain, do you need further explanation?
So they didn't want to have anything to do with my attempting to enroll at the school.
When you are that age, you don't feel powerful. I remember realizing that with what we were doing, trying to abolish segregation, we were coming up against governors of southern states, judges, politicians, businessmen. And I remember thinking, I'm only 22 years old. What do I know? What am I doing?
See?
And I felt very vulnerable. So when
she felt very vulnerable.
When we heard these newscasts that other cities were having demonstrations, it really helped because there were more of us. And
they were having demonstrations.
It's very important.
It was very
important. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 was enacted by the 88th U.S. Congress and then signed into law by then President Lyndon B. Johnson on July 2nd, 1964. This bill was said to have been one of the weakest links in the power structure for equal rights concerning voter registration requirements, employment discrimination, and segregation in schools and other public places. In reaction to this Civil Rights Act bill, and with the loss to the Democrat Party preventing a new Democratic desegregated party from being accepted by the Democratic National Convention, from March 7, 1965 to March 25, 1965, 3 organizations decided to conduct a protest demonstration to draw awareness towards so-called Negroes wanting to exercise their constitutional right to vote. It was called the March from Selma to Montgomery. During this said march that lasted a total of 18 days, the 3 organizations that conducted and participated in this march were members of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the Dallas County Voters League, along with members of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. But during the second to the last day of the march, on March 23, 1965, a few SNCC members like Stokely Carmichael and Willie Ricks, for example, chose to abandon the march from Selma to Montgomery upon reaching Lowndes County, Alabama, speaking to the local residents of the town, and then orchestrating a meeting with a member of the organization called the Alabama Christian Movement for Human Rights by the name of John Hewlett, who was also a former member of the NAACP subdivision in Alabama.
So he became a sheriff.
Stokely Carmichael, John Hewlett, William Ricks, and other SNCC members created a brand new independent political party known as the Black Panther Party in March of 1965.
Whoa. Hold on. That was before Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seals. Hold up. I'm trying to tell you. Y'all thought I was playing, huh? Here you go.
Not to be confused with Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seals' Black Panther Party that was adopted a year or 2 later by SNCC. This initial Black Panther Party was officially known as the Lowndes County Freedom Organization, or the LCFO for short.
See there?
So during the James Meredith precedent, Stokely Carmichael and William Ricks and other members of SNCC and the Black Panther Party were met face to face with the golden opportunity of a lifetime, which was to be able to finally
see how I link up that 1966 James Meredith precedent, him faking like he got shot. So the intention was to do this.
Really flipped the narrative from Dr. King's nonviolent approach with Freedom Now to Stokely Carmichael's borrowed slogan, Black Power.
See there?
While James Meredith was in the hospital, Stokely Carmichael met with Martin Luther King Jr., Floyd McKissick, and others, where they vowed to continue Meredith's march. And so the one-man march then became the March Against Fear. Having gained the media attention by aligning himself with Dr. King publicly during the march, just 10 days after the James Meredith precedent, on June 16, 1966, Stokely Carmichael purposely got himself arrested by police for trespassing on private property of the university. It was said that after immediately upon being released from police custody hours later, Stokely was instructed by William Ricks to give his Black Power speech in front of young students and the press in Greenwood, Mississippi, where he was quoted stating the following: "This is the 27th time I have been arrested, and I ain't going to jail no more. The only way we gonna stop them white men from whooping us is to take over. What we gotta start saying now is Black Power."
He capping.
To use the term Black Power, SNCC had already decided this before the march. That must be properly understood. We decided to use the march for an education purpose. Number one, we wanted to push strongly our struggle against the war in Vietnam. So if people look clearly at the merit of the march, you will see anti-Vietnam propping up here. King wasn't using it then, but you will see this is one of the areas where we started to hit him with it seriously. Our march was to put strong nationalism in, to have direct leadership from us, and of course, to throw our Black Power for the mass of the people. Now, I myself had been in Greenwood, Mississippi since early '60. I'd worked in the project there, and when head of the second congressional district, this was our base. So I had spent time in the jail in Greenwood so many times. The police knew me, the police chief knew me, everyone in the town knew me. So we decided Greenwood.
The police knew you, the police chief knew you? Okay.
Our base. So I had spent time in the jail in Greenwood so many times. The police knew me, the police chief knew me, everyone in the town knew me. So we decided Greenwood, it was SNCC's strongest base in the Delta. We couldn't go wrong. Unfortunately for the police, we went to set up some tents there, and the police decided to arrest me. Okay, so before I was arrested, we were discussing Greenwood. This is where we will launch Black Power. So when I got arrested, Ricks was on the side there when the police said, "Let them arrest you. We'll get you out of jail and you come out and make the speech tonight." And he disappeared. Well, you know how Rick speaks. So anyway, I went to jail. But I was brought out, and when I was released, it was at night, the speech was going on, and when I came to the speech, I wasn't aligned. Ricks came back. He said, "We have everything prepared. We're ready for Black Power. We've spoke about it all day. We've primed up the people. And luckily for us, our biggest problem was Martin Luther King. Because I knew that once Black Power was said, Martin Luther King would have to come, not fight against it, but would his best try to give reasonings to water it down." But luckily for us, the night in Greenwood, King had to go to do a taped television thing, I think, for Meet the Press. So he had to go to Memphis. So he was not there the night in Greenwood. Ricks had everybody primed. He said, "Just get to your speech. We're going against freedom now. We're going for Black Power. Don't hit too much on freedom now, but hit the need for power." So we built up on the need for power. And just when I got there, before I got it, Ricks was there saying, "Hit him now, hit him now." And I kept saying, "Give me time, give me time." When we finally got it and we dropped it, Black Power, well, of course, they had been primed and they responded immediately. But I myself, to be honest, I didn't expect that enthusiastic response, you know, and the enthusiastic response obviously not only shocked me, but gave me more energy to carry it on further. By the time we got down that night, SCLC was running around everywhere. We knew it was finished. We had made our victory. They could not bring it back. It was over.
Oh. Whoa. Uh-oh. Ladies and gentlemen, again, you're looking directly at a plant that was purposely done. Sway the people into something that turned into nothing. He basically swayed the people into running into a brick wall and admitted it. It was over. They couldn't do nothing about it.
By the time we got down that night, SCLC was running around everywhere. We knew it was finished. We had made our victory. They could not bring it back. It was over.
Many people were opposed to Stokely's motives and agendas, calling him radical and militant. In fact, SNCC itself was established under the principles of nonviolence by so-called blacks and so-called whites. And that fact becomes quite obvious when taking a look at SNCC's logo alone.
Right.
But once Stokely gained control over SNCC as the chairman, the once Jamaican immigrant that lived amongst the whites during his childhood began purging all of SNCC's non-colored members one by one.
The Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee that had been on the front line, the shock troops of the Civil Rights Movement, led by a coalition of young white and black students, North and South. Stokely Carmichael gets control of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating and literally does what I call the Soviet Union's done. He purges. He purges the organization of all white people, all white leaders, and give a damn how dedicated you were. If you were white and you were Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee when Stokely Carmichael came in. He said, you go back and work in your community. We want to have total control, Black Power. That was a very destructive move. And it had consequences that rippled throughout the movement.
Stokely set out to raise awareness of wanting so-called Black Power by appearing in various meetings where the press were present and by soliciting door-to-door, enticing the poor people residing in Mississippi to go register and vote.
How you doing, Ms. Sons?
Fine.
How's everything going?
It's fine.
Good. I want to talk to you a little about, May 3rd, what we're going to do. So Logan, who's running against Mr. Favors for sheriff, and we'll pick one of them. And if we get one of those candidates picked, then on November 8th, their names will go on the ballot box and we'll vote on the list for Black Panther. So in November, okay, well, you know what we're going to do on May 3rd?
Oh, I think so.
What we going to do on May 3rd?
We going over and trying to get organized for the reddish for November election. Is that right?
Now we can vote for our people, because we have to use our vote to get out the cotton fields.
That's right.
And we can't get out the cotton field voting for the boss, man.
That's right.
We got to vote for people who've been in the cotton fields like ourselves, and they're the ones who are going to bring us out the cotton.
He never was in the cotton field. Let that be known.
We can't get out the cotton field voting for the boss, man. We got to vote for people who've been in the cotton fields like ourselves, and they're the ones who are going to bring us out the cotton field. Because I guess you've been hearing what everybody's been saying about us across the country. Have you heard what they said? Now, the law says that you can't vote in ours and also vote in the Democratic primary, which has to be held on the same day according to the law. So that what we'll have to do is vote on one and not the other. So if you want to vote for our candidates for sheriff, for tax assessor, tax collector, coroner, and the school board, then you have to vote for us. If not, you can vote for governor and for the same people in the Democratic Party.
Being just a year older in age than Stokely Carmichael,
done by design.
SCLC's staff leader, Bernard Lafayette, shares a very important message concerning the term Black itself, and how many people were opposed to its usage amongst the so-called Negroes during that time period.
Now, when I was growing up, to call a person of color, like myself or others, Black, was considered derogatory. That's just a fact. You call somebody Black, those were fighting words. Those were fighting words.
So what was going on here was that the college students were manipulated by Stokely Carmichael and many of his closest colleagues to believe that the use of the term Black is highlighting their group of people by way of their skin complexions, inadvertently grouping themselves into a mental status structure that not only bears negative connotation, but more importantly, it also makes them null and void or non-existent when it comes to law of the American government.
Purposely done.
I feel that while believing firmly that power is necessary, that it would be difficult for me to use the phrase Black Power because of the connotative meaning that it has for many people.
The majority of the people that were associated with campaigning Black Power to these students did not relate to any struggles with poverty and or direct racial discrimination personally.
And that's Diane Nash. You could tell she was one of them Jones. I'm gonna leave it alone.
So this exposes why someone needed to negate Dr. King's Freedom Now movement and transition the public's attention to a Black Power campaign, revealing that the campaign's method was politically used for the purpose to mentally and emotionally target only the Neejies of Turtle Island for self-degradation and self-condemnation, which makes things even deeper.
Yep.
Because we can now determine without a doubt that Stokely and his fellow colleagues were set to breach the Neeji civil rights movement that was currently underway, steering the main attention away from unity, human rights, and nonviolence.
That was purposely done. So yeah, I'm just gonna I'm gonna drop a bomb with that. During Black History Month, so-called Black History Month, I'm gonna be going even deeper with Martin Luther King. I'm not even gonna give you a taste of where I'm headed because I don't, I'm just gonna leave it like that. You're just gonna see it. My wife and I has been working on it actually for over a year now. It's about a year and a half we've been working on it. So just be on the lookout for that. I also want to let you guys know, as far as Martin Luther King's overall agenda. I'm just going to say this, his overall agenda. You would think that it was for all great causes, but yet it was for someone else's benefit and not necessarily our people. He was put out there to portray as if he was for our people throughout the majority of his time being out in the public. But again, that if that was cool with the government, that's one thing. But if it wasn't, they'll take him out. I mean, and we could see that. The things that the government was cool with is what he went along with in the beginning and the majority of his time out there in the public. The government was cool with that. They allowed all of that. They allowed his following to progress higher and higher, larger than anybody that we could think of. The reason why we constantly are celebrating his life and death, he's having holidays, all the rest of this, okay? Again, because he was a particular agent. He was. Not only was he Alpha Phi Alpha, so, mixed in with the Boule, mixed in with the gatekeepers, because that's technically what he was. But he also betrayed them at the tail end, okay? Right before his demise, right at the tail end is when he said, He turned his back on those people. Then he flipped it, okay? But I need to tell you in more detail, and I will, and you will see. Be prepared for that. Let me drop a bomb for all of you all that came out to watch this. I want to definitely give some shout outs because I didn't get a chance to. Where we at? Let me drop a big major bomb for OG. OG Dub's been a member for 34 months in a row. That's major. That's major. Goddess Wild Red been a member for 3 months in a row. She said feathers up. I appreciate that. Niji Superior been a member for 4 months in a row. He said, let's get it, Niji.
It's go time, Slim.
I appreciate that, brother. Sean George, thank you for becoming a member. Jamal Sneed, thank you for becoming a member. And Crypto, let me double check. Celinda. Yeah, Celinda. Wait, yeah, that is correct. Hold on, Big Dono, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the donation. Kyle Moore's Battle. Thank you for the donation as well. Ramon Clark been a member for 10 months in a row. I appreciate that. Choctaw Montana, what's going on, brother? I see you. Bailey Yoso gifted a membership. I appreciate that. Thank you, brother. Girly Girl, thank you for becoming a member as well. Camerooni Hunter has gifted a membership. I appreciate that. Thank you. Running Dead, what's going on? He also gifted a membership. Let me pull up the Cash App right now. Let me double check, make sure. I'm not exactly sure if I was receiving any notice from that. I think we good. Yeah, I think we good. And if I missed it, it didn't pop in because I just cut my phone on and it's probably going to take a second. If you did hit the Cash App, I'll make sure to repeat it during the next live. I'm going to go live again tomorrow. Probably a little earlier. If I'm a little late, it's probably going to be around the same time. It's going to be a totally different topic. I'm going to leave this one right here and I'm going to move on to a different topic. Hope you all learned something new. Be sure to check out part 1 if you haven't already. That's yesterday. Yeah, we going back to back. It's time for me to do something like this for the people because this time a lot of people are waking up and they need to see what's going on. Have it properly explained in detail. I appreciate that, and I hope you do too, man. So shout out to you.
Set it on fire.
Relax and take notes. Take notes.
OCO, freethinkers. You're now tuned into the realest historian on the planet. He's here to make you think. It's Dane Calloway.
You are watching a master at work.
The champ is here. The champ is here.
King Kong ain't got shit on me.
The fuck you mean?
This motherfucker don't miss.
No, he's fucking good.
That motherfucker don't miss, man.
He's good.
In the heat of battle, he don't miss.
No.
In the heat of controversy, he don't miss.
No.
Winners are not allowed to allow losers to rewrite history.
Okay, I'm reloaded.
All right. Y'all take care. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow, same time. Wado.
I'm just here to make you think.
So damn. Yeah.